One of the things I've heard you talk about is the knowledge filter. It's basically, and I always say this, like a lot of times I've observed that academics rise to the pinnacle of academia because they can really, the way I put it is, they really grasp the existing paradigm. They can really just, they can fit everything into the existing paradigm rather than people who are seeking the truth or are thought leaders or try to understand some of the anomalies without having to shoehorn them into a theory. And a lot of these paradigms are just theories. The theory of evolution, Big Bang is a theory, germ theory is still just a theory, which to me, the longer it is a theory, the less they are able to prove it, or they've had a lot of time to prove some of these things. And not only do they not really open their minds to that, it's almost a self-fulfilling prophecy, because if they reject all anomalous facts or evidence, then there's no reason to question the theory, because it's almost a tautology. Like the only thing they think is valid is stuff that promotes the theory. And it sounds like there were plenty of things that, even from the early days, fell outside of the proposed theory, the proposed paradigm. How and when or why do you think that the facts kind of got curated to support one theory or another so that they would get locked in?
Well, it's a very interesting question. Um, when I looked at the whole history of archaeology, that kind of question that you're asking about knowledge filtration or fitting everything into the standard paradigm occurred to me also. And what I found is this: in the mid 19th century, actually in 1859, Charles Darwin published his revolutionary work, The Origin of Species, which introduced the idea that the varieties of living things that we see around us today have evolved from some common ancestor, step by step by a process of gradual evolution. And as far as human beings are concerned, scientists immediately began to speak, well, who would be our ancestor? And they concluded, well, it must have been some creature somewhat like, the living apes and monkeys. Not exactly, but in that in that general category of ape or monkey. So they immediately began searching for evidence for a missing link between anatomically modern humans like us and some primitive ape like ancestor. Now, the problem is there were two problems actually. First, they didn't have any timeline set up, so they didn't have any expectations of how old this missing link should be, if there was one. And second, when scientists, archaeologists, geologists, and other scientists started digging and looking for this human ancestor, they weren't finding evidence of a missing link. They were finding evidence that humans like us were existing millions of years ago. You have the discoveries of the Italian geologist Giuseppe Ragazzoni finding human bones in Italy, northern Italy, uh, 4 or 5 million years old. You have Carlos Ribeiro in Portugal, a geologist there, finding artifacts of the kind normally attributed to humans like us in layers of rock 20 million years old. So you had many discoveries like that being made in the 1860s, the 1880s, the 1890s. And then at the end of the 19th century, in about 1894, a Dutch researcher named Eugene Dubois found some fossils in Java at a place called Trino. It's in the area of the current country of Indonesia, Southeast Asia. So he found there a skull bone that was very primitive and a femur or thigh bone that was very uh, human like. He put them together and he hypothesized this is the Java ape man, the missing link, half human, half ape. And it was about 800,000 years old. That was the age of the formation at which it was found. So this became accepted by the scientific community. Okay, you've got your missing link at 800,000 years. That means anything human, anatomically modern human, has to be after that. So then it became a problem for them. What are we going to do with all this evidence that had accumulated in the previous 40 years or 50 years that showed humans were existing millions of years ago? That had to be rejected, dismissed, forgotten. And it has been completely forgotten, except for some individuals like me who are aware of this history and knowledge filtration that's gone on. So anytime anything that is remotely human that has been found after Java Man, uh, it's been interpreted in such a way, as you were saying, Monica, to fit the current paradigm.